Once again, Christian greetings to all our valued listeners and viewers throughout the whole world. This is our special episode number 46 as the last final warning message just prior to the close of probation. I would like to read Testimonies to Ministers on page 31. It says, "We have nothing to fear for the future except as we shall forget the way the Lord has led us." Testimonies to Ministers, page 31. We have nothing to fear for the future except as we shall forget the way the Lord has led us. I remember the statement in 1TG number 9 on page 6. It says, "Since the work we are now doing is not sponsored by any man, and since God has led us all the way as definitely as He led the Exodus movement, making our way inch by inch as providence directs." It says, inch by inch as providence directs. So, what a wonderful statement given by the voice of inspiration, that God lead our way step by step as providence directs. So, that is how merciful God we have. So, here in 2SR, on page 171, it says, "What a wonderful experience it will be when we fully comprehend the love of God in the price paid for our redemption." It says, "What a wonderful experience it will be when we fully comprehend the love of God and the price paid for our redemption." 2SR page 171. And I really feel the blessings, such spiritual blessings. I remember the statement in track number 14, page 42. Track number 14, page 42, it says, "Those who seek to know themselves," it says, "those who seek to know themselves and the truth are filled with knowledge beyond their expectation." Track 14, page 42, it says, "Those who seek to know themselves and the truth are filled with knowledge beyond their expectation." So, what a wonderful statement, brothers and sisters. To be filled with spiritual blessings, heavenly knowledge beyond our expectation. And of course, the more our knowledge increases, it says here in Prophets and Kings, Great Controversy rather, 678. The Great Controversy 678. "And the years of eternity as they rule will bring richer and still more glorious revelations of God and of Christ. As knowledge is progressive, so will love, reverence, and happiness increase. The more men learn of God, the greater will be their admiration of His character." What a wonderful statement, brethren. The Great Controversy, page 678. And I would like to read to you this reading in 2SR 253. It says, "It is certain that nothing could fit so perfectly by accident, but think of such marvelous foresight in devising a wonder of this kind, which could reveal by a living picture the future for thousands of years. Are not such evidences as this a token of love divine toward fallen beings? Gratitude swells from our hearts. Words fail us. We can exclaim with the psalmist, 'Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. I have sworn, and I will perform it, that I will keep thy righteous judgments.'" Psalms 119, 105, and 106. And here in 1SR, on page 233 and 234, it says, 1SR 233 and 234, "Woe to him who may think all these wonderful designs in the beauty of perfection are just a chance or an accident. Such a one is denying the master mechanic of all creation. He is paying homage to evolution, chance." 1SR 233 and 234. I love so much that statement. Master mechanic of all creation. or in other term, it says Jehovah, the super artist. It says here in 1SR Packet Edition on page 56, it says, marvels of typology. The eye focused to the light of heaven sees that Jehovah God, the super artist, has employed in the scriptures every method known to mankind by which to unfold the wondrous structure of redemption. You see, the Jehovah God, the super artist, employed in the scriptures every method known to mankind by which to unfold the wondrous structure of redemption. And I can really appreciate that statement that every word, every praise, track number 5 on page 36, it says, track number 5, page 36, accordingly, as every letter, every word, and praise of a sentence has its appointed part to play in giving coherent expression to the thought intended, just so has every scripture its appointed part in unfolding Bible truths. When each is carefully joined in its right relation in the picture of revealed truth, one leading on to and illuminating another, the great overall design stands out in all the solemn majesty of its mountainous finality and grandeur. Track number 5, page 36. And also the statement given in 1SR on page 14 saying, I would like to read the statement. Someday, 1SR page 14, someday this subject must be understood. Then it says, for inspiration makes no useless statements, and it cannot be in the Bible for a trinket. Let us define first the word trinket. Remember the shepherd's rod says, no, there is no useless statements in the Bible. Every word, every praise, every sentence, there is an accurate significance, giving coherent to the thought intended. So let's define the word trinket. It says trinket. It says a small ornament or item of jewelry that is of little value. So the word trinket meaning, no, it is not just out of value. It is not out of value. Every word of God is valuable. And it says in 1SR 232, as God is infallible, His works spell perfection, even to one jot or one tittle. 1SR page 232. Now let me read to you, brethren, track number 15. It says here, track number 15, in pages 54 and 55. It is one of the denomination's fundamental beliefs that the prophecies of the sixth seal began to be fulfilled with the great Lisbon earthquake of November 1, 1755. It says, following the earthquake, May 19, 1780, the sun was darkened and the moon appeared as blood the following night. So that is May 20, 1780. Then came the falling of the stars, the great meteoric shower of November 13, 1833. The Great Controversy, pages 304, 309, 333, and 334. Looking forward to these celestial demonstrations, the signs of the times. I love so much the statement, the signs of the times. Now, I would like to, that we will go back to that reading. Here in 1TG, number 51, 1TG, number 51, pages 5 and 6, it says, if the church is not commensurably growing and expanding, then how can she be a living church? And how can she keep up with the signs of the times and with the progress in the sanctuary above? So it says, and how can she keep up with the signs of the times and with the progress in the sanctuary above? Now, let's read track number 15, page 5. It says, the seven seals, the signs of the times. Track number 15, page 5. It says, the seven seals, the signs of the times. Now, in 2SR 187, it says, the seven seals and the sanctuary. So the seven seals and the sanctuary coupled together. And that is why the statement in 1 TG 51, page 5 and 6, how can she keep up with the signs of the times and with the progress in the sanctuary above? And we already read in track 15, page 5, saying, the seven seals, the signs of the times. Now, let us read to SR 187. In order to make a proper application of the seven seals, we must have a better understanding of the heavenly sanctuary service, its origin, and the object of its existence as taught by the earthly sanctuary built by Moses, Hebrews chapter 8, verse 5. In the sanctuary construction and service is revealed the plan of salvation. Now, let's go back to track number 15. Let's go back. Track number 15 on page 54 and page 55. It says, looking forward to these celestial demonstrations, the signs of the times. What is the particular object in view if we will be talking the signs of the times? The subject of the seven seals. Track number 15, page 5. And the subject of the seven seals can never be understood unless we have a better understanding concerning the sanctuary construction and service. To SR 187. And that is the reason the Shepherd's Side says we need to keep up with the signs of the times and with the progress in the sanctuary above. The Spirit of Prophecy also raised the question saying in Selected Messages, Book 1, page 122, saying, Are we awake to the work that is going on in the heavenly sanctuary? Are we awake to the work that is going on in the heavenly sanctuary? The same with the statement in Testimonies for the Church, Volume 6. It says, Testimonies for the Church, Volume 6, on page, let us read the statement given by the Spirit of Prophecy. Volume 6 on page 404. It says, Brethren, to whom the truths of God's Word had been opened, what part will you act in the closing scenes of this world's history? Are you awake to these solemn realities? Do you realize the grand work of preparation that is going on in heaven and on earth? That is going on in heaven and on earth. Do we realize the grand work of preparation that is going on in heaven and on earth? But the same with God's servant, I would like to say, but thank the Lord, it says here in Consecrated Way to Christian Perfection. Page 104. But that imposture is not to last forever. Thank the Lord. This great truth of the priesthood, ministry, and sanctuary of Christianity is not to be hid forever from the eyes of the church, or in other words, from the eyes of the 144,000 and from the eyes of the world, which is the great multitude. What a wonderful privilege! According to 4 BC 11:39, they are privileged to see by faith the work that is going forward in the heavenly sanctuary. 4 BC 11:39. And here we will introduce to you what an amazing message that have been given by God, by which we could use the statement, unalterable. Do you remember? Let's project again that statement. This unalterable, brothers and sisters, types, parables, and the testimonies, you could no longer alter according to the voice of inspiration in track number 8, page 30. These unalterable truths of type and parable and the word of his testimony brings us face to face with the solemn reality that we are come to the time of the antitypical Passover. And we will show to you the great wonders of the Word of God, which cannot be altered, because these proofs are infallible. Infallible proofs, my dear brothers and sisters. Now let us read track number 15, page 54 and 55. Remember, the unalterable truths is pointing to the antitypical Passover, according to track number 8, page 30. These unalterable truths of type and parable and the word of his testimony brings us face to face with the solemn reality that we are come to the time of the antitypical Passover. That only those who will participate on this coming antitypical Passover will be the only ones according to the shepherd's rod. Here in tract number 8, let me read to you, will be the only ones that shall inherit the kingdom of God. It says here in tract number 8, page 76 and page 77, seeing ourselves on the brink of eternity, we are impelled to join with Elder James White in his enraptured exclamation, "O glory, hallelujah! My poor heart is set on fire for the kingdom." While I'll dwell on this sweet prospect before the true believer, if we hold fast but a few days more, yes, just few days, the dark shades of night will vanish before the glory of the preparatory scenes of the coming of the Son of Man. A word to the letter flock, page 8. Only those who have a part in this antitypical Exodus movement will be privileged to sing the song of Moses and the Lamb and to share in the promises of the covenant in its antitype. And it is pointing to the 144,000 living saints by which it was predicted beforehand that all of them will come out of Egypt. So we are now coming face to face on that great deliverance. It says here in 1SR page 101, it says, brothers and sisters, in the Exodus movement, all the tribes went out of Egypt. If this is a photograph of Israel by the promise, then all the 12 tribes must come out now as well. The word now must be applied to the time when the prophecy will be finally be fulfilled. And through the unalterable truths, types, parables, and the testimonies of the prophets, we can show to you that we came to the very year of our deliverance, the year of deliverance, my dear brothers and sisters, because these facts are unalterable. These facts are infallible. Now let us go back again to tract number 15, page 54 and page 55. It says here, looking forward to these celestial demonstrations, the signs of the times. So what are the signs of the times? Celestial demonstrations. The Lisbon earthquake, the darkening of the sun, moon become blood, and the falling of the stars. We already read, brothers and sisters, in tract number 5 on page 34, saying, in the main, however, the trumpets and the seals portray an event which is future from John's times and which takes place in heaven. Although they also portray kindred events. Then it says of these related events, and some are contributory and some are consequent to the main prophetic event. How many events mentioned here? 4. Kindred events, related events, contributory events, and consequent to the main prophetic event. Therefore, brothers and sisters, the Lisbon earthquake is the kindred event. The darkening of the sun is the related event, and the moon become blood, the contributory event, and the falling of the stars are consequent to the main prophetic event. And what is the main prophetic event? The occurrence that takes place in the heavenly sanctuary. And we already read, according to 2SR, on page 214, it says, as the continuation on page 213. And it says, according to the following testimony, Revelation 6, verse 12 to verse 17, has a double application. And it is clear that these verses also refer to the time of the purifications of God's church. Brothers and sisters, the voice of inspiration says that this phenomenon has a double application. And the first application is literal, but the final and the perfect fulfillment of the prophecy is symbolical. Because according to the old symbolic code, let me read to you that such prophetic event, the seven seals, are symbolical prophecy and not literal. 3 symbolic code number 8 to 10, page 9. The nature of the seven last plagues is not yet revealed. The revelation is written in figurative speech, and therefore the description of the plagues may be symbolical, as are the seven seals and the seven trumpets. So the seven seals are symbolical prophecy. But God employed unto us the literal fulfillment of that predicted event to serve only as the groundwork for that prophecy which is still unfulfilled, which is the symbolical prophecy. Here in tract number 5, page 33 and page 34, it says, so though all such prophecies necessarily bring to our attention things which took place centuries ago, yet they are designed, like the revelation, to show to God's people things which must shortly come to pass. Without any doubts, the people mentioned here is the 144,000 living saints, because they are the particular object in view. And that is the reason why God commanded His servant Ezekiel to write the vision on a tile to indicate that the particular object in view is the people that shall never die. It says here in 1SR Pocket Edition, page 74, Ezekiel was commanded to engrave a city upon a tile and to name it Jerusalem. The material in which the city was to be engraved being everlasting, not subject to decay, it denotes that the city in vision is one that will stand eternally, a people that shall never die. And the mere fact that God promised that the book of Revelation is to be more fully understood during the judgment of the living, according to 2 Tg 12, page 30, saying, the revelation, therefore, is to be more fully understood during the judgment of the living, plainly indicating, brothers and sisters, that the book of Revelation, the particular object in view, is the judgment that pertains to the living, to the saints that will no longer to taste death. Then it says here in tract number 5, page 34, fulfilled prophecies are seen, therefore, to be employed by the Scriptures only as groundwork for that part of prophecy which is yet to be fulfilled. Which is yet to be fulfilled. And that is why in tract number 5, page 32, the statements which must shortly come to pass, Revelation 1, verse 1, and I will show thee things which must be hereafter. Revelation 4, verse 1, go to say that the revelation is given with the one particular object in view, of showing the things lying not behind, but ahead of John's time, with reference being made only incidentally to the past, in order to lay the necessary foundation upon which to build the future. So here, brothers and sisters, let us now study closely the groundwork in connection with the particular object in view. So let us study closely, brothers and sisters, the groundwork and the particular object in view. So let us read again the statement here on tract number 15, pages 54 and page 55. So let's go back again. Tract number 15, page 54 and page 55. Looking forward to these celestial demonstrations, the signs of the times, that the prophet says, looking forward, shows to the relation to the perfect fulfillment of the prophecy. Because if it is pertaining to that celestial demonstrations that occurred in the past, then the prophet will no longer say looking forward, but rather looking backward to these celestial demonstrations. Now it says, looking forward to these celestial demonstrations, the signs of the times, Jesus forewarned that they were to appear immediately after the tribulation had ceased. Matthew 24, verse 29. But in the perfect fulfillment of the prophecy, it is reverse order. Because when this predicted event will be fulfilled, then that is the signs by which the great tribulation in Revelation chapter 7 will then be fulfilled. My dear brothers and sisters. Now I would like to read Revelation chapter 7. Here, Revelation chapter 7. Revelation chapter 7 on verse 14. And I said unto him, Sir, thou knowest. And he said to me, These are they which came out of great tribulation, and have washed their robes, and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Revelation 7, verse 14. So that great tribulation, that is the evil time mentioned in Isaiah 57, verse 1. Now, by which during that period of time, and that great tribulation, there are many saints that will die. And that is the last martyrdom that ever recorded in the Bible and in the spirit of prophecy. And they are those who will die under Revelation 14, verse 13. And let us study it gradually, brothers and sisters. It says here in 2SR page 173, Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yes, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. Revelation 14 verse 13, which die from henceforth, that is from the commencement of the loud cry. Thus the word declares that some of the saints will be laid in the grave even during the time of the harvest. Loud cry. We quote from Counsels on Health, page 375. Many will be laid away to sleep before the fiery ordeal of the time of trouble shall come upon the world. Therefore, the great tribulation precedes the time of trouble. And the difference is that during the great tribulation, there are still saints to die. But in the period of the time of trouble, there will be no more saints to die. Because all of them had been laid down to sleep by God prior to the commencement of the little time of trouble. And that's what it means by the saints will be trodden underfoot. As predicted in 2SR page 151, it says, 2SR page 151, the spirit of prophecy also states that the king of the north brought to view in Daniel 11 verse 45 and the two-horned beast of Revelation 13 is the same power, and that it shall bear this mystical number 666. We quote, this power is the last that treads down the true church of God. So this is the last power that treads down the true church of God. And according to track number 3 on page 39, the treading of the horse is the massacring of the Christians. Track number 3, page 39, the treading of the horse is the massacring of the Christians who would not worship according to the dictates of the horned power. Track number 3 on page 39. And that is also the fulfillment of the vision of the prophet in 3SM. Let us read 300. So this is the vision that was shown by God to the prophet. 3SM 397 and 398. Persecution in the battle before the last closing conflict. The two armies will stand distinct and separate, and this distinction will be so marked that many who shall be convinced of the truth will come on the side of God's commandment-keeping people. When this grand work is to take place in the battle prior to the last closing conflict, many will be imprisoned, many will flee for their lives from cities and towns, and many will be martyrs for Christ's sake in standing in defense of the truth. Many will be martyrs. So that is the vision that was shown by God to the prophet. And to repeat again, brothers and sisters, the phenomenon in Revelation 6, verse 12 to verse 13 has a double application. The primary application, which is literal phenomenon, that is the groundwork. And that is the fulfillment in Matthew 24 verse 29. Immediately after the great tribulation, those signs had been appeared. But in the perfect fulfillment of the prophecy, it is reverse order, because immediately after such symbolical fulfillment of that phenomenon, immediately the tribulation will begin. My dear brothers and sisters, the tribulation mentioned in Revelation 7 verse 14, by which thousands upon thousands of saints, Revelation 14:13, will die martyr as predicted beforehand. Now, let's read again the statement here in track number 15. Pages 54 and page 55. Looking forward to these celestial demonstrations, the signs of the times, Jesus forewarned that they were to appear immediately after the tribulation had ceased. Matthew 24 verse 29. And it says, so while peace, wars, commercialism, script, and persecution are the signs of the times and the identification of the first 5 seals, in like manner, the earthquake, the dark day, and the meteoric showers are the signs of the times and the identification of the 6th seal. Why is it that in this reading, brothers and sisters, that phenomenon when the moon became blood had not been mentioned in this reading? Because it says, in like manner, the earthquake, the dark day, and the meteoric showers are the signs of the times and the identification of the 6th seal. Indicates, brothers and sisters, that among the phenomenon and that event, my dear brothers and sisters, among the phenomenon of that predicted event, it is concerning the moon which became blood. And it was on May 20, 1780. The moon became blood. Now, let us continue reading. It says, these global disturbances and celestial exhibitions between the years 1755 and 1833. So, what are the global disturbances and celestial exhibitions between the years 1755 and 1833? Of course, only the darkening of the sun and the moon become blood. It is very important, brothers and sisters, to understand that predicted event. It says here, these global disturbances and celestial exhibitions between the years 1755 and 1833 in themselves, however, appear to be forecasts of the things which take place during the great and dreadful day of the Lord. So the statement says, appear to be forecasts. Now, how does dictionary define the word forecast? That is a message in advance. Let us define the word forecast. Now, brothers and sisters, let us study closely. So it says, forecast, foretell, or predict. You see, brothers and sisters? So that's what it means by the word forecast. To tell in advance. Now, let us read again. Track number 15, page 55. It says, these global disturbances and celestial exhibitions between the years 1755 and 1833 in themselves, however, appear to be forecasts of the things which take place during the great and dreadful day of the Lord. I would like to re-emphasize again that the great and dreadful day of the Lord in the days of Beti-Hotep was still future. Let us read again answerer number 3 on page 88. I would like to read answerer number 3, page 88. And looking forward to the time of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. That statement is very plain. It was written 1944. The prophet says, and looking forward to the time of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Looking forward. Then it says, the time just ahead of us. The Lord admonishes the people who will be living at that time. Remember ye the law of Moses my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel with the statutes and judgments. But the most specific divine command given by God to Moses in the Mount of Horeb is to tell Israel and to tell Pharaoh to let my people go, that they might observe a feast unto me in the wilderness. And on that very day, according to the voice of inspiration, brothers and sisters, it says in 1 TG number 7, page 5, there with his shepherd's rod, he performed many signs and wonders before both the Egyptians and the Hebrews. And you remember what took place the night of the Passover. The night before they left Egypt, Moses had proclaimed throughout the land that in every dwelling where no blood was found on the doorpost, that very night the firstborn in such dwelling would die. 1 TG number 7 on page 5. And the voice of inspiration plainly told us that, yes, we will be told concerning the antitypical Passover in much advance than in the days of Moses. It says here in 2 TG 41 page 3, 2 TG 41 page 3, I am, however, certain that God will not keep us ignorant of the things we ought to know. If it becomes necessary for us to know ahead of time the day and hour of the purification of the church, the antitypical Passover, we will be told. Yes, we shall know at least as much in advance as Moses knew about the Passover in his day. Yes, we will be told and we will be informed by God as much in advance than in the days of Moses. And through these unalterable facts, what facts? Type, symbols, and parables, and also the testimonies of the prophet, we come face to face that we are about to enter this coming antitypical Passover. Track number 8, page 30. It says, these unalterable truths of type and parable and the word of his testimony bring us face to face with the solemn reality that we are come to the time of the antitypical Passover. Brothers and sisters, we come to the time of the antitypical Passover. And after presenting these unalterable truths, impregnable evidence, infallible proofs, if you will not be awakened, you will sleep forever. Now, let us go back again, brothers and sisters, to track number 15 on page 55. It says, these global disturbances and celestial exhibitions between the years 1755 and 1833 in themselves, however, appear to be forecasts of the things which take place during the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Then it says, if this be true, then the earthquake foreshadows the forthcoming shaking, shifting among the nations as predicted by the prophets Isaiah and prophet Nahum. So what is the shaking mentioned in Isaiah 30 verse 27 and 28 and Nahum chapter 2 verse 3? Ponder deeply, my dear brothers and sisters, because it says it is given by God, the groundwork, to serve as a forecast of the things which take place during the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Now, since it was quoted Nahum chapter 2 verse 3 together with Isaiah 30 verse 27 and 28, then let us connect track number 14. Because in track number 14, my dear brothers and sisters, Nahum 2 verse 3 is connect to Ezekiel 31 verse 1 to verse 14. Ezekiel 31 verse 1 to verse 14. Now let us read. It says, Nahum chapter 2 verse 3, the shield of his mighty men is made red, the valiant men are in scarlet, the chariots shall be with flaming torches in the day of his preparation, and the fir trees shall be terribly shaken. What does trees represent, brothers and sisters? Rulers, leaders. And according to track number 8, on page 24, it says that it is only on the earth that the trees naturally grow. It says, track number 8, page 24, the only place where trees naturally grow, that is on the symbolical earth. Track number 8, page 24. The only place where trees naturally grow, that is on the symbolical earth. And the message given by God in Revelation chapter 7, it says, hurt not the earth. Let us read the statement. Revelation 7 verse 3, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of God in their foreheads. So, the hurting mentioned here in Revelation 7 verse 3 are pointing only to the trees, first on the earth, and then the trees on the sea. And what does trees represent? Leadership, which is also parallel or figurative equivalence of the firstborn sons. That only the firstborn sons are in danger on that Passover. I would like to read 1SR Pocket Edition on page 55 and page 56. When will this come to pass? The type unquestionably reveals the time through the fact that only the firstborn were then in danger. Only the firstborn were then in danger. Now let us read again the statement in track number 14, page 8 and page 9. To repeat again, here in track number 14, page 8 and 9, Nahum chapter 2 verse 3 is connect to Ezekiel 31 verse 1 to 14. Ezekiel 31 verses 1 to 14. Now here I would like to show to you, and it's up to you, whether you will say that it
it is just an accident, or you will acknowledge that it is wrought by the omnipotent hand of providence, the great artist, Jehovah, brothers and sisters. Now, I would like to read Ezekiel 31, verse 1. Ezekiel 31, verse 1. And it came to pass in the 11th year, it says, and it came to pass in the 11th year, in the 3rd month, in the 1st day of the month, that the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, do not forget, Ezekiel 31, verse 1 to 14, is connect to the prophecy in Nahum chapter 2, verse 3. And do not forget that Nahum chapter 2 verse 3 and Isaiah 30 verse 27 and 28 is connect to the prophecy in tract 15, page 55, the great and dreadful day of the Lord, by which Nahum chapter 2 verse 3 and Isaiah 30 verse 27 and 28 is connect to that phenomenon that occurred in the past, by which the voice of inspiration says, appear to be forecast of that event that will occur on the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Now let us read again tract number 15, page 55. Tract number 15, page 55. It says, these global disturbances and celestial exhibitions between the years 1755 and 1833 in themselves, however, appear to be forecast of the things which take place during the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Then it says, if this be true, and 100% that is true, if this be true, then the earthquake foreshadows the forthcoming shaking, shifting among the nations as predicted by the prophets Isaiah and Nahum. Isaiah 30, verse 27 and 28, and Nahum chapter 2, verse 3. So we need to study to connect the verses as the shepherds rod connect it. And Nahum 2 verse 3 in tract 14, page 8 and 9. The shepherds rod connect it in Ezekiel 31, verse 1 to 14. By which the prophecy in Ezekiel 31, verse 1 to 14 is pointing to the fall of Assyria according to prophets and kings. We already read that, right? In Prophets and Kings. That prophecy recorded in Ezekiel 31 from verse 1 to verse 14 is a prophecy concerning the fall of Assyria. Prophets and Kings 363, 364, 365, and 366. That is pointing to the fall of Assyria. And no one would deny the absolute fact that Assyria represents the United States of America. The Assyria in the judgment that pertains to the dead, that is Great Britain, the king of the north. Great Britain in particular, according to the shepherd's rod. But we are studying the Assyria during the great and dreadful day of the Lord, and pointing to the United States of America. I would like to read 1 TJ 23, page 5 and 6. From this we see that the Assyria under discussion exists in the time of the end, the time in which the great and dreadful day of the Lord takes place. And what is the sign given by God, the signs of the times of the great and dreadful day of the Lord? The global disturbances and celestial exhibitions between the years 1755 and 1833. In themselves, however, appear to be forecasts of the things which take place during the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Tract number 15, page 55. So here we can see the close relation with the one and the other. Why is it that the shepherd's rod connect in tract number 15, page 55, Nahum 2 verse 3, and Isaiah 30 verse 27 and 28? Because it points out to the Assyria in the great and dreadful day of the Lord. 1 TJ 23, page 5, page 6. To repeat again, in tract number 14, page 8, page 9. Brothers and sisters, Beti Hotep connect is Ezekiel 31, verse 1 to 14, to Nahum chapter 2, verse 3. In Prophets and Kings 363 to 364, 65, and 66, declared clearly that Ezekiel 31, verses 1 to 14, projects the fall of Assyria. Now, brothers and sisters, let us now read Ezekiel 31, verse 1. Remember, if you still remember the statement in track 15, page 55, I would like to read again the statement. It says, in like manner, the earthquake, the dark day, and the meteoric shower are the signs of the times and the identification of the sixth seal. Why is it that the moon became blood was not mentioned in this reading? Plainly indicating that of all the phenomenon, it is concerning that phenomenon that the moon become blood is the sign of the event of the great and dreadful day of the Lord, by which such great and dreadful day of the Lord was revealed through Ezekiel chapter 31, verse 1 to verse 14. I would like to read Ezekiel 31, verse 1. And it came to pass in the 11th year, in the 3rd month. What is the 3rd month? June, April, May, June. In the first day of the month, June 1. Now, brothers and sisters, why is it that the Bible says, and it came to pass in the 11th year? So after the 11th year, and that is in the 3rd month, and the first day of the month, that is June 1. Now, would you think it is just a mere happenstance? Now, let us look at now the timeanddate.com. May 20, 1780. That is the time when the moon become blood. May 20, 1780. Look at, brothers and sisters, in Bible calendar, that is June 1. That is June 1. Would you think it is just a mere happenstance here in Ezekiel chapter 31, verse 1? No, because the shepherds have declared clearly, and I would like to show to you that all of the phenomenon, this statement in track number 15, page 55, it says, these global disturbances and celestial exhibitions between the years 1755 and 1833 in themselves, however, appear to be forecasts of the things which take place during the great and dreadful day of the Lord. During the great and dreadful day of the Lord. There are 4 phenomenons. Therefore, there must be also 4 events that will take place in the great and dreadful day of the Lord. There must be 4 events, brothers and sisters, as projected by that phenomenon that occurred during the 6th seal, which is only the groundwork. Now, I would like to repeat again. Track number 15. Let us read again. Track number 15 on page 55. In like manner, the earthquake, the dark day, and the meteoric shower are the signs of the times and the identification of the 6th seal. Would you think B.T. Hotep, he overlooked that phenomenon, the moon become blood? No. There is an accurate significance. Why is it that that occurrence, the moon become blood, had not mentioned in this reading? To let us know that that is one of the most important part when the moon become blood, on that phenomenon by which that forecast, brothers and sisters, of the moon become blood will be the one forecasting of the things that will take place during the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Now, we already read Ezekiel 31 verse 1. It says, and it came to pass in the 11th year, in the 3rd month, in the first day of the month, that the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, brothers and sisters, on this Sabbath, it was freshly revealed to us by God. This verse is pointing to the time when the moon became blood. Now, let us go back again. May 20, 1780. That is the time that moon became blood. In Bible calendar, that was June 1. Now let us look at again. That is June 1, 1778 AD. Would you think it is just a mere happenstance, this occurrence in Ezekiel 31 verse 1? No, because that phenomenon in May 20, 1780, in reality, in Bible calendar, that was June 1, and that June 1 projects the event that will take place during the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Now, look at, brothers and sisters. I would like to say that, no, it is not accident. It is a miracle, miraculous truth, wrought out by the omnipotent hand of providence. It is God who arranged all the events. Now, let us look at now, in the period of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Now let us look at in Bible calendar. June 1, Bible calendar. June 1, 2023. You see, November 13. In Gregorian calendar, that is November 13, 2021. Would you think it is just a mere happenstance accident that June 1, 2023, in Gregorian calendar, November 13, 2021, which remind us to the falling of the stars, November 13, 1833. Would you think that is just an accident? No, brothers and sisters, because it is arranged by God. Now, we will show to you our little diagram so that you could understand this diagram. It is unalterable, infallible, impregnable proofs, brothers and sisters. If you will look at the darkening of the sun, that was May 19, 1780. May 19, 1780. And that is pattern number 3. Now, look at, brothers and sisters. Where is our May 19, 2011? I think I gave to you May 19, 2011. May 19, 2011, that is the time by which Jesus Christ is in the holy place in the second heaven. Would you think it is just a mere happenstance? May 19 and also May 19, 1780? No. Because the statement in Ezekiel 31 verse 1, let us read again, Ezekiel 31 verse 1. It says here, and it came to pass in the 11th year, 11th year, brothers and sisters, ponder deeply, after the 11th year, and we are now on that 11th year in 2011, since 2011. It says, and it came to pass in the 11th year, in the 3rd month, in the 1st day of the month, that the word of the Lord came unto me, saying. Now let us go back again to our diagram. And 100%, I can shout throughout the whole world that soon, very soon, all the prophecies will be fulfilled in quick succession. Now look at, brothers and sisters, May 20, 1780, in Bible calendar, that is June 1. The same with the statement in Ezekiel 31, verse 1. But look at June 1, 2023, Bible calendar, pattern number 3. Because June 1, 1778 is also pattern number 3. Where's pattern number 3? That is the same pattern. I place pattern. You see May 20, 1780? There must be pattern number 3. Would you think it is just a mere happenstance? Look at June 1, 2023 in Gregorian, that is November 13, 2021. What is November 13? That is the falling of the stars in 1833. Now, look at in Bible calendar, November 13, 1833, Gregorian, in Bible calendar, that was September 5, 1832. It points out to September 5, 2020. September 5, 2020. That middle part, the upper one must be March 17. That is September 5, 2020. What is September 5? The commencement of that predicted event, the fulfillment of Ezekiel 9. Now, I would like to, now let's continue this diagram. Ponder deeply, brothers and sisters. November 1, 1755. November 1, 1755 AD. That is the great earthquake, right? Lisbon earthquake. But in Bible calendar, that was July 4, 1753. Pattern number 6. And you know what? When God showed vision to Ezekiel in the river Chibar, that was July 5. And look at November 1, 1755. That is July 4. Then we have July 5, 593 BC. According to Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 1, 2, and 3. Now tell me, brethren, if that thing is just a mere happenstance. I would like to repeat again. May 19, 1780 projects the work of Christ in the holy place in May 19, 2011. Gregorian calendar in Bible, that is October 10, 2012. And it says, on the 11th year, now just using Bible calendar, 2012 plus 11. So 2012 plus 11. Then you will fall in 2023. June 1, 2023. Now let us read the Bible. On the 11th year, Ezekiel 31. Let us read. And it come to pass in the 11th year, in the 3rd month, in the 1st day of the month, that the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, June 1, What is June 1? That is the time when the moon became blood. June 1, 1778 AD, Bible calendar. In Gregorian, that is May 20, 1780. But what is the focal point? Why is it that the moon, which became blood, was not mentioned in track 15, page 55? Because that is the focal point, brothers and sisters, by which the voice of inspiration says, I would like to read again, in like manner, the earthquake, the dark day, and the meteoric showers are the signs of the times and the identification of the sixth seal. You see, brothers and sisters, identification of what? The beginning of the sixth seal. But when the moon became blood, it was not mentioned here to let us know that that is more pertaining to the sign that the sixth seal is closed. Then it says, these global disturbances and celestial exhibitions between the years 1755 and 1833 in themselves, however, appear to be forecasts of the things which take place during the great and dreadful day of the Lord. During the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Now, let us go back again to our reading. Let's go back to our diagram. You see, brothers and sisters, June 1, 2023, Bible calendar, pattern number 3, the same pattern in June 1, 1778, Bible calendar, pattern number 3, when the moon became blood. In June 1, 2023, Bible calendar in Gregorian, that is November 13, 2021. So what does it mean, brothers and sisters? There are two occurrences that takes place on that time. June 1, 2023, Bible calendar, the occurrence is in the heavenly sanctuary. November 13, in Gregorian, 2021, the occurrence is on the earth. And what is November 13? That is the falling of the stars. November 13, 1833, the falling of the stars. Now, brothers and sisters, what is November 13, 1833 in Bible calendar? September 5, 1832. What is September 5? That is the commencement of the fulfillment of Ezekiel 9. And it was fulfilled in September 5, 2020. And we will show to you that portion on the subject, the expiration or the 12 figurative months. But in this study, brethren, with that four phenomenon, November 1, 1755, the great earthquake. In Bible calendar, that is July 4. Let's go back to the diagram. In Bible calendar, that is July 4, 1753. Therefore, brothers and sisters, the shepherd's rod is very plain. I would like to read to you track number 15 on page 55. It says, these global disturbances and celestial exhibitions between the years 1755 and in 1833 in themselves, however, appear to be forecasts of the things which take place during the great and dreadful day of the Lord. If this be true, then the earthquake foreshadows the forthcoming shaking, shifting among the nations as predicted by the prophets. And what is the quotation? Isaiah 30, verse 27 and 28. Nahum 2, verse 3. So what is that earthquake? The forthcoming shaking. What shaking? Ezekiel 31, verse 1 to 14. That is pointing to the fall of Assyria, brothers and sisters. So we need to study closely the subject, the Assyrian Confederacy. Now, brothers and sisters, this year 2021, in that illustration, in the four phenomenons, all of them will begin to be fulfilled on this year, the year 2021. There is no other year. Now, let us look at again our diagram. Look at May 20, 1780. That is the moon become blood. In Bible calendar, that was June 1. And that is pattern number 3. Now, if that phenomenon will not be fulfilled this year, then we need to look at another June 1, which is pattern number 3. Then that is 2030, right? Let us look at June 1, 2030, Bible calendar. If it is pattern number 3, June 1. Is it pattern number 3? You see pattern number 3. But look at, in Gregorian, no more significance, October 7. No more significance because this is unalterable. It cannot be mistaken. Infallible proof. Only June 1, 2023. Now let us put again, June 1, 2023. Look at, in Gregorian, very significant, November 13. One truth dovetailing another. June 1, 2023. In Gregorian, November 13, 2021. What is November 13? The falling of the stars. November 13, 1833. Now, let us go back again to our diagram. Now, November 13, 1833. In Bible calendar, that was September 5, 1832. Now, if that prophecy was not fulfilled in September 5, 2020, there's divine pattern, right? In November 13, 1833, pattern number 1. There's no pattern in your diagram because I placed pattern. The other one, that one, pattern number 1. You see, they have the same pattern. Now, it must be that September 5, brothers and sisters, should match to the subject, the 12 figurative months. That September 4 must be March 16. March 16 in Bible calendar and September 16 in seasonal calendar. The expiration of the 5 figurative months. So, if it was not fulfilled on 2020, then we will look another pattern number 1, and that would be on 2028, March 17, 2028. You see, brothers and sisters, it is no longer September 5, but rather July 31. So, God coupled together Bible calendar and Gregorian calendar to establish infallible proof, to establish impregnable evidence, unalterable truths. And not only that, brothers and sisters, let's go back again to our diagram. That is the only reason why God placed in Ezekiel 31 verse 1. On the 11th year, on the 3rd month, on the 1st day of the month. That is a prophecy pointing to this coming June 1, 2023. Because that June 1, 2023 is typifying June 1, 1778 when the moon became blood. But miraculously, June 1, 2023 in Gregorian, November 13, which points out to the falling of the stars in November 13, 1833. But November 13, 1833, miraculously, in Bible calendar, that was September 5, pointing to the commencement of the fulfillment of Ezekiel 9 immediately after the expiration of the 5 symbolical months. You see, brothers and sisters, how perfect such predicted event. Now, November 1, 1755, in Bible calendar, that is July 4. And what is that earthquake? And July 4, I think, there is celebration. Can we see that in United States of America? What is July 4? July 4, is it? I think there is a celebration, or there is a holiday. July 4, 1776. Can we see? So that is Independence Day, July 4, 1776. July 4, 1776, the Second Continental Congress unanimously adopted the Declaration of Independence, announcing the colonies' separation from Great Britain. That was July 4. You see, brothers and sisters, what will happen on that independence? This coming, let us now look at, but we are now talking about Bible calendar. Although July 4 in America is Gregorian, but let us go to July 4, 2023, Bible calendar. July 4, 2023. So, that would be on Gregorian, that would be December 16, 2021. That is the fulfillment of this prophecy, the earthquake, December 16, 2021. Let's read again, track number 15, page 55. It says, these global disturbances and celestial exhibitions between the years 1755 and 1833 in themselves, however, appear to be forecasts of the things which take place during the great and dreadful day of the Lord. If this be true, then the earthquake foreshadows the forthcoming shaking, shifting among the nations as predicted by the prophets. Isaiah 30 verse 27, 28, and Nahum chapter 2 verse 3. Pointing to Ezekiel 31, and that is the time by which the great rulers in the United States of America will be terribly shaken. There must be occurrence, there must be happenstance by which the great rulers in the United States of America will be terribly shaken. December 16, 2021. So, we will continue this subject, brothers and sisters, on our next episode. Now, may the good Lord bless you and have a beautiful, wonderful evening.